Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be talking about the Dr Marten Made in England 1460 vintage boots and my experience with them. I've been wearing these boots for about 6 to 8 weeks and I'll be covering the main design features of this boot and how it compares to the standard 1460s. Let's get stuck into the video. First of all, I'd like to talk about the presentation. These boots come in a nice box which is of a much higher standard than the traditional brown Dr Martens box. On the side of the box you'll find a vintage label with the product details, and inside you will find a canvas bag to store your boots, and there is also a nice little booklet which contains information about how Dr Marten make these in their England factory. I think it's a nice touch and it helps give the product a much more premium feel right off the bat. The boots themselves are constructed using Dr Marten's Quillian leather, which is a thick and durable material. The boots are shaped much like a 1460 but have a vintage shape, much like when Docs were made in England before they began production in Asia. The leather on the flesh side of the boot has been left natural, which I think adds a nice bit of detail. This does rub off in high wear areas, as you'll see in mine later in the video. They do feature that classic Dr Marten styling with the yellow welt and the pull tab at the back, and also the iconic soles. Like all Docs, these boots do take a bit of time to wear in, and as you can see from mine, I think I've managed to break them in fully. The leather is becoming softer, and it's particularly around the heel area where you can see the most wear in. I must admit, these boots did take a bit of time, but not as much as other boots I've had in the past, and I didn't find them to be too hard on my feet. As with other Doc Martens, the soles aren't particularly durable. You can see from mine that they are starting to show a little bit of wear. Nothing too serious, they've still got plenty of grip, and they're still like new, but they do wear down quite quickly, so that's definitely something to be considerate of. As I mentioned earlier, here is some of the parts of the boot, particularly on the tongue, where the black leather has started to rub down to the natural grain of the leather. I'm happy to say though that this has just been contained purely to the tongue, but just something I wanted to show you to be aware of. The leather coating is quite thick, so hopefully it won't wear down across the rest of the boot. And you can also see some of just general wear on the boot. The stitching's still good, the welt's pretty sturdy, and you can just see wee spots of the natural grain, particularly at the stitch areas. When compared to the standard 1460 boots, there are some subtle differences. As I mentioned before, the Made in England pair have the natural finish on the flesh side, where the standard pair have been dyed all the way through. The pull tab on the back of the Made in England is gold rather than the standard yellow. And the collar on the Made in England is just a raw leather versus the sort of leather trim that's around that part, as you can see here. The sole of the boot is also virtually identical. The big difference here is that the Made in England version doesn't say the original, it just says Made in England stamped onto the bottom. The biggest difference I've found with these though is the shape. Both pairs are my true size, and as you will see when we get to the on-foot shot, the shape is slightly different. Maybe it's because in the Made in England pair it's handmade, or it's just limited to my pair, but when you look at the toe box there are some slight differences. I feel that the toe box on the Made in England pair is slightly shorter and a little bit higher. This might be because it's a retro version of the shoe. Here is the Made in England pair looking down. And here is the classic 1460 looking down. Now I think the toe box here does look a little bit longer, and to be honest I actually quite like the shape of these ones when I look down upon them. It might just be that the colours are slightly different as well though. And here are some on-feet shots of both pairs. When it comes to looking after these, because they're a casual boot, I tend to just leave them and let them age. However, if you do want to look after them, you can use the Dr Marten Wonder Balsam, which I think is very good, particularly when breaking in, because it really softens the leather. Overall, these are a great pair of boots. The quality is great and they're very comfortable once you've broken them in, and I'm sure that they're going to last me a very long time. As I've mentioned, the shape is a bit more of a vintage style, but taking all things into account, I'm very happy to have these boots in my collection and I look forward to wearing them for many years to come. If you found this video useful, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe to my channel. This is my first video, but I have plenty of content planned for 2022, so do stay tuned. What did you think of the Dr Marten made in England? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, take care and I'll see you in the next video.